In an unprecedented move, the National House of Representatives has taken a bold step to reduce their own salaries by 50% for 6 months. This move is aimed at supporting the government's efforts to tackle the high cost of living and ensure food security for all. The House maintained its Committee on Appropriation, Humanitarian Affairs, Finance and Budget to ensure compliance of this.
The resolution followed the adoption of a motion moved on the floor of the House titled "An Appeal to the Proponents of a Proposed Nationwide Protest to Maintain Peace, Eschew Violence, and Open the Windows for Meaningful Engagements with the Government at all levels in order to address their issues." The motion was moved by Honorable Ibrahim Isiaka, APC Ogun State, during a plenary in Abuja. The salary cut, will amount to a total of 648 million naira over 6 months.
And joining us is policy and finance expert Babatunde Erinjogunola. Good morning and thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
Good to have you. Thank you for joining us. Let's talk about this move, the move by the House of Representatives to now cut or to accept a 50% pay cut. We're not quite sure if this pay cut is for their salary or for the salaries and the allowances as well. But is it something that you applaud, or do you just think it's some form of move that is inspired by fear of the Nigerians maybe protesting?
Thank you. Well, any good thing that comes from any quarter, in terms of a giveaway or gift, I usually would say thank you for them for their effort and concern for the people. But the truth of the matter is that is really far from what the situation on ground demands, and even their own rule of engagement. What they need to do, I haven't thanked them for their effort, is that they should just focus on the manifesto with which people voted them into office. There's enough there for them to do. If they had been doing that in the past 12 months or more, honestly, there would be no need for all of this having to give 50% or whatever. Recently, talking of hunger in the land, there were no tomatoes, yam in the market, and we have house committees in charge of agriculture. If they had moved in straight into their manifesto, it only takes 3 months to 9 months to produce all of these things, and the market will be flooded. And even if other policies governments are working on in terms of stabilizing the exchange rate and removal of subsidy, if the food are on the table of people, there will be less concern and agitation in the country. So what I would just want to suggest to the representatives, our Federal House of Representative members, is to please go back to their manifesto. The mandates they got from the people is based on the manifesto they gave Nigerians. Agriculture, it's a material part of it. Housing is there. Improving the economy reforms, and they even talk about what they call common sense solutions. So those common sense solutions in their manifesto, talking about that of APC, which is the ruling party, should be what they should focus on. If they do that, I'm sure Nigerians will be happy to even add more money to their pay as universities. All we want is to your mandate.
Yeah, I mean, so why do you think they haven't figured out some of the things that you've mentioned now as a better approach towards, the steps that must be taken, instead, of course, of offering this salary cut for 6 months? That's why, and then another thing, the amount says to be 648 million naira. What does that say about whether this is, just a salary cut or salary and allowances for these lawmakers? Because initially I was asking, is this just their salary or just salary and allowances? And if it's just a salary, then it's absolutely nothing taken out of what they earn.
Yes, thank you. They're talking about basic salary, really. And their basic salary is 600,000. 600,000, 50% of that is 300,000. 300,000, from 360 members, we give you the exact amount you talk about, which is the 648 million. They know that this is just a paltry amount, such a small amount for them. More than 50% of the House of Assembly may even be able to, boast of that figure by the time they are finishing their term in office. So that's why I'm not dwelling on that, because it's really nothing to talk about. It's not the solution we demand from the legislature. We want them to focus again on the big thing. You asked the question, why have they not been able to focus? They have not been able to focus because politics has not been about the people. Politics has been largely about self-preservation in office, and all of the things that goes with that. So we need to come back to why people vote officers or office holders into office. So it's, like I said, just focusing on your committee activities and maintain compliance of that rather than compliance on the 50% removal. It's more important, because if you can, follow what your rules of engagement says, the mandates that got you into office, and you do that religiously, honestly, the results we will get will actually meet the expectation of the people. I have spoken to a number of people in the marketplace, in the streets, in offices, and all of that. All they want are just basic things. For instance, you can imagine the federal government in the policy of APC saying that they will deliver 20,000 housing units in 5 years. In 5 years. And when you compare to what a UK government that has just come in, who has less housing problem, they are looking at 300,000 housing units in a year. And you can imagine population of UK is just about 70 million people, and that of Nigeria is over 200 million. So we need to actually focus, know who we are. I mean, like Obasanjo, our respected former head of state, says sometime, is that you have to know what you have to know to be able to do what you have to do. So legislators need to know our people, they need to know the country, and they need to now use the office to know what they have to do. And if they have not gotten that far, let them just pick the manifesto and work with that. We're here to work with them. We voted them in, but we need focus. Let them focus on what matters to us, to the people, not just reacting to whatever happened in Kenya, fear, like you said, and just come up with 50%. 50% is nothing. Nigerians will not even know whether they removed it or not, because
speaking about
part of.
I mean, you just mentioned that they shouldn't react based on what happened in Kenya, and I'm going to make reference to that because I remember at the start of this conversation I had asked you, whether this was something that was a valid step or it was done out of pressure, of the fear of the, based off what happened in Kenya. There's a potential for a protest to happen from the 1st of October, from the 1st of August, I beg your pardon. We've been seeing conversations about a planned protest, which we do not know if it will happen or not. But should this protest eventually take place, what effect do you think it would have on the assembly, on this current administration? Do you think it will get any desired change?
Well, let me use this opportunity to call on Nigerians that, going on the street, fighting, protesting and all that will not take us far. What will take us far is us engaging the representative and the executive constructive. So we are enlightened enough in this country to be able to put pressure group together and continue to engage constructively. We saw what happened during the exercise, because I was there having to call the people back from destroying already the services or facilities that government even managed to put on ground, and we go out and start destroying them in the name of maybe we're demanding for better service, better attention. But the truth of the matter is we honestly don't need to, put our people on the street and cause mayhem and disturb the street. What we need is constructive engagement. We have seen how that worked. We're able to get the military back to the barracks for 20-something years now, not by the number of people that were killed during June 12 and all of that. It is more by the sustained pressure of the enlightened group, which brought about the president today being recognized as a pro-democracy activist, including the celebrated Professor Wale Soyinka. They all came together and put forward very constructive and robust pressure on government. We are capable of doing this, and that's why I thank your platform for this type of engagement. We are here, we are ready to put pressure and continue to engage with our leadership to make sure that they focus on what they promise us. This is just about contracts. You came, you gave us manifesto. I have the manifesto, I read it every time. If you do what you have in your manifesto, that is enough for Nigerians. Yeah. And that is why the House Committee on Agriculture, on Defense, on Security, let the House set up a compliance mechanism to make sure that these bodies, committees are doing what they set out to do. Yeah. At that point, we would have a cause to even say thank you to them.
Yeah, there's also arguments that, a move like this, just shows that the House of Representatives don't really understand what the cries of the people are, or they're just being, deceitful. But I also want you to speak on the current administration generally. There's been more than a year since they came into office. They've had, some very interesting policies that don't seem to have really improved the lives of the Nigerian people, seem to have made it worse. So what is your assessment on how they've run the affairs of the country so far? And when they say Nigerians should be patient and persevere and hold on for just a little while, that things will get better, do you agree and do you believe in that?
Well, thank you for that. Nigerians, let me say this again. We have no choice. We're on board a plane or a ship. All of us have to make sure that we land safely. And to do that is to begin to make sure that we continue to monitor those our crew members, the pilot or the captain, as the case may be. But coming back to your point, the overall policy of the government and the implementation so far, I think we are getting around the same issue of focus, issue of deep planning. I think when we were campaigning, it was easy for us to just mouth all of these good things, and we just take it on once they throw it at us. But we need to. It's obvious now that we did not go deep into each of the points that were issues for Nigeria at the time they were campaigning and they were promising us that they're going to do that. So take, for instance, insecurity in the country. We know it's linked to many things, food and all of that. We salute the effort of the NSA and all the security agencies in the country. To be honest with you, that has subsided relatively. However, we need to continue to make sure that security arrangement in Nigeria, it is not 8-hour deal or, you come in the morning, you close, it's 24 hours. And we have to be proactive. Part of that is to make sure that our local government, just as they have proposed, they are capable of providing services to the people. They lost that position. The provision was there since 1999, but about 2 or 3, we lost that because some governors came, or a governor came in and usurped the powers of the local government because they felt they were being too powerful. And 20-something years later, we are back to realizing that we cannot achieve any meaningful development without local government being able to offer services to the people. And that's on the local government side. On the finance side, talking about the national finance structure, architecture, and all of that. I think some of the challenges they face at the early stages are understandable. Things are stabilizing. The focus on the exchange rate should be moved away from Naira devaluation to appreciating that Naira was deprived of its value. So what we need to do is to bring the value of Naira back, not by just monitoring what goes on in the exchange market. It is by increasing productivity. Once the demand is there, the supply will adjust to that. And
so, I mean, are you saying all of this? I'm sorry for jumping in, but are you saying all of this, as a way to tell Nigerians that they, should, instead of protesting, hold on. And of course, that some of the things that they're currently dealing with, there's no other way to go around it. And so they should hold on. Things will, eventually get better. Is that your point?
No, my point is protest has different modes and shapes. We continue to protest constructively.
That's yeah,
yeah, your point again.
No, I'm just trying to, so what would you advise then? If they're not going to protest, what would you advise?
I advise them to protest. But the protest is come together, write a letter, let them know you're there, request for a visit, request for presentation of your proposal, come to platforms like yours, speak about it. We have seen that they react to media pressure than many other things we do because they like to look good. Anytime they go anywhere, they come on board and say, hey, I was at Singapore, I was at Ghana, I was at this. These are things we do. So we can use this platform that will not lead to the death of innocent people to push our point through. That is a form of protest. Those are the kind of protests I support. The tone of your letter, your communication to the people in power, using all sort of medium or platforms that is available to us today, they're not for us to push out. And our people are doing what they can. You can see what happened in America. Due to pressure, Mr. President Biden is now accepted that he will be stepping down. This wasn't the case last week or so. So those are the kind of protests I would recommend for our people. And they're doing it. I encourage that they should continue to do that. On all fronts, there is no magic to fixing our economy because we were there. Our brothers, our sisters were there when we were depleting the values of our country through whatever means. And we can still come back to realizing that any one of us that we see taken from government is not taken from any government, it's taken from us. Because at the end of the day, the resources and the taxes we pay are all for Nigerians and from Nigerians. So we need to adjust ourselves as a people and ask ourselves the honest question. Are we doing the right thing from our own end in the first instance? Because it is from amongst us that our leaders get, selected or appointed. So we need to reach out to our people and our leadership and continue to engage with them constructively. I support protest.
Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts on that. We have thoroughly enjoyed having you on the show today with us. We look forward to having you again.